What's HTML? What's Dreamweaver? Come along with me while I try to begin to answer those questions. Install? Yeah, baby. All right. So today, if you don't know, a lot of what I do on this channel, this broadcast, is do my homework. So I'm in a master's program at Cal State LA for informational technology, educational technology. And a lot of what we do is figure out how to use technology in relaying information, right? We're going to take a look at Dreamweaver and maybe just go through some preliminary tutorials together. You obviously need Dreamweaver, which is an Adobe tool, part of the Adobe Creative Cloud. So if you have that or access to that, I'd recommend downloading it on your desktop or wherever you're going to be using it on your personal computer. Again, it is an Adobe application, so it's part of the Creative Cloud. As a student, I get it for $14.99. I believe for the year was it's an incredible package, but I'm not sure how much it costs independently. But that's what I will be using for all of these tutorials and subsequent builds, I believe, for websites. This is supposed to make it easier to design. It's Dreamweaver is supposed to make it easier to design, code, and publish those responsive websites that we're supposed to be building, and web applications that we're supposed to be building within the master's program for educational technology at Cal State LA. I'm not a developer or a real designer yet. I mean, I definitely am a creative person who designs a lot of lesson plans, layouts, classrooms online, those kinds of things. My layout here on Twitch, right? How I deliver my information here on Twitch. So that's kind of the gist. So if you are, into that, or you're a noob, or you're experienced and want to help a noob, please do stick around. Drop a follow, drop a comment if you got the knowledge, because I need the knowledge. Today's a fun day. It's Dreamweaver Day. I'm gonna download it. I'm being introduced to Dreamweaver today, so I'm really excited. See some tutorials. Install? Yeah, baby. It's downloading. I wonder how long this will take. I probably should have done this elsewhere. I have no idea how I'm supposed to open up that then. Should I try it again? Also, keep in mind, I'm on a 2017 mid 2017 Mac. I love it. I love it. Get some music going. Figure this out.
With Dreamweaver, you can build and publish websites and web applications for use across different browsers and devices. The simplified onboarding guides you to the workspace and files you need to get started quickly. Dreamweaver's reimagined developer workspace has the performance and features you require to build your next web application. This also includes a streamlined and clutter-free UI that lets you customize your workspace to only show the tools you need to code. Dreamweaver is ideal for modern web development with support for HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, and more.
Understanding the anatomy of a website. Learn how most web pages are made using HTML and CSS. Those are the basic languages that we do use. When you look at a web page, you might wonder how it's made. To display a web page, your internet browser reads and interprets a special set of instructions. These instructions are written primarily in two languages, HTML and CSS. The World Wide Web Consortium, W3C, defines the web standards as specifications for these languages. It is important to understand the web standards to ensure the different web browsers display and web pages accurately. Okay, Dreamweaver includes features that allow you to build web pages based on the latest web standards. Let's look how HTML and CSS work together to build a web page. Yes, in my class, we mostly have dealt so far with just HTML. HTML websites display content and have an underlying structure as defined by HTML. The content can include text, images, links, or even audio or web. Most HTML elements are written using opening elements, so we call them tags, I believe, right? And closing element tags, yes. They tell the web browser what kind of content to display. The tags are written in a specific order to define the structure on a page. We have H1 here, so those are for your headings, right? For the text, the page titles. And then the tag with a P is your paragraph. So this is your paragraph text. Naturally, it adds a little break and it starts the new section of text. Image tags, IMG, shows images. So SRC is for source file. So often you'll see this tag used as an image, space, SRC. So that's saying this image is your source file. So image, source file, together gives you an actual image. Okay. What is CSS? I don't know much about CSS. I'm hoping to learn more as I work through this program. This is week 2 in the online program for Masters of Educational Technology. I'm really hoping to learn more about that basic structure that HTML gives, but then CSS is that styling format, right? So CSS is to find one or more HTML elements and then provide additional instructions for what that element should do, like change its color, change its shape, add a background. Those are gonna be those style, the layout. And that's honestly what I'm most interested in, right, is the accessibility, readability, the way information is being presented and given. So far we've talked about what HTML is, what Dreamweaver can do, what it offers. Now we understand the basics of HTML and the CSS, remember?
Now this is the first thing you should do whenever you start a project in Dreamweaver. The files for any website should be managed from a central location. Let's look at this existing site definition here as an example. Now depending on which view you're in, I'm in standard, okay? But if you're in developer, okay, there is the files menu there and it's standard, it's over here in the right. And if you can't find it anywhere else, go to window and come down to files and turn it on. Great, so this is an existing site definition that I've created earlier. And basically it's just peering into a folder that happens to be on my desktop called rendered. And inside that folder, there is an HTML file, there's a CSS file, there's some folders with JavaScript and images and some videos. Okay, let's check it out on the desktop. Here it is on the desktop. Okay, and you can see it's the exact same thing here. Okay, there's my HTML, my CSS, my images folder. Okay, so all our site definition is to link those two together. So let's go and make our own site definition. So inside Dreamweaver, let's go up the top here to site and let's go to new site. Now where it says site name here, okay, this is where you get to name your site. And this is just a reference for yourself. So you can type anything in here. Let's say I'm going to call this one my portfolio. Now spaces between the words here are fine. And the important bit here is this local site folder. Okay, this is just to tell Dreamweaver where I'm going to keep this website. And in this case, I'm going to click on the browse button and I'm going to find my desktop. I'm going to make a new folder on my desktop. I'm going to call this one my_portfolio. Just make sure you don't use any spaces when you're naming your folder name. You use hyphens or underscores instead. Click create, and then I'm going to click choose. Great, so now Dreamweaver knows where I'm going to put all my files. The next thing I'm going to do is tell it where I'm going to put all my images. To do that, let's go to advanced settings, local info, and then up to default image settings. And let's click browse, let's click new folder. Let's type in images. Let's click create. Click choose. And that's going to help us when we start putting in images into our website, and say we start pulling them from various places on our hard drive. Dreamweaver is going to be clever, and it's going to pick those images up and put them into that images folder. Because remember, everything has to be in that one folder for this to work. Great, so we have defined a site. Let's click on save. Let's have a little quick look at the folder that's created on the desktop, just so that we're clear about what's going on. All right, and there he is, my portfolio. Open him up. And there's an images folder in there. There's nothing going on much. It's not particularly exciting, but that's the folder that everything for my website needs to go in now. So let's jump back into Dreamweaver.
Okay.
HTML, click save. Let me tell you something. I am gonna call it today. Mostly, I have a headache. Be back Wednesday, and hopefully with more fun stuff to do. Maybe a website. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I think it's time. It's time. I'm tired. I need a little brain break. All right. I love what they do. But for now, later, yeah. Feel free to subscribe and follow along as I continue to figure more things about, building websites, using technology to disseminate information and just figure out the space of online learning and educational technology more. So come along, hit the subscription.